Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying the goal of this episode is not to break you and your bros up or you and that bro up. It really is not. Neither is the goal supposed to be you to start, being antagonistic towards your bros or me saying you should not have bros. No, that is not the aim. Think about it. But I do hope that after you're done with this episode, that you become much more introspective and a little bit much more critical, positively critical of your relationship with other guys. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever time of the day you're listening to this. You're welcome to Volatile Times with Daniel podcast. And today we are going to be talking about the movie Obsession. If you're new here, my name is Daniel, obviously. What does this podcast do? We talk about anything, honestly, like just conversations in general that are interesting, whether about culture, about self, philosophy, psychology, etc., etc. You will find it here, okay? And you'll probably find some things that honestly you don't want to think about. Scroll down into the catalog. But today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the movie Obsession, specifically about the male friendship within Obsession. That is the friendship between Ian and the protagonist, let me not use the word protagonist, and the main male lead, Bear. If you have not seen Obsession, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. But there are going to be spoilers in this particular movie. Not bigger spoilers like that, but there are going to be spoilers in this particular episode rather. If you haven't seen Obsession and you don't care about spoilers, stay. You don't have to have seen the movie to understand what it is I'm going to be talking about in this particular episode. But I just think having seen the movie will give it a lot more context because I don't want to be over describing things. So let's get into it. Now, Obsession opens by introducing us to two people, mainly. It's three people actually, but two people. He introduces us to Bear, who is currently giving a heartfelt confession of love and the desire to be in a relationship to a woman sitting across from him. And it's beautiful, it resonates, it's something, you get. It's emotionally vulnerable, it's just romantic. You can tell that Bear has a romantic bone inside him. And then immediately after he's done, we learned that this was a mock practice. We learned that he was not actually doing the confession. He was simply just practicing what it would look like to do that confession and the words that he will say if he hopefully gets the chance to say it to the girl that he wants to actually say it to. But then immediately after he's done, his friend Ian immediately becomes a problem and remains a problem for me throughout the entirety of the movie. And I don't think I've seen a lot of discourse online. Like, I've seen a lot of discourse online about the movie Obsession, but I don't think most people have really focused and zeroed in on the relationship between Ian and Bear and how Ian is an enabler and on some level part of the reason why everything goes to shit in the first place. So, let's talk about Ian and Bear. What is the situation between these two? These two are friends. They are somewhat low-key childhood friends, I believe, but I'm not sure. It's not really that important. Let's move on. Now, Bear is in love with a particular friend of theirs that is called Nikki. Nikki is beautiful. Nikki is sweet. Nikki is smart. Nikki is also one of the guys because she can, do that kind of like mean, rough humor that guys kind of do once in a while. She can do it, really well. She's not faking it. She's just somebody who enjoys that type of humor. And so the confession that Bear was practicing, at the beginning of the movie is something that he hopes he can do or at least say to Nikki. Whatever the outcome will be, we don't know yet, but at least we know Bear is looking to confess to Nikki and he's really heads over heels for this girl and everything. And then there's Ian. Bear's best friend. Bear's best friend is Ian. I am emphasizing best friend so that you will know why I am going to be dragging Ian for fields throughout this entire episode, okay? Now, Ian's first reaction, Ian's immediate instinctual reaction is, ew, bro, no. And you see, at that moment, I had to pause the movie. Because I was like, I don't like that. That is not a good friend. But then I had to revise a little bit that position on, that reaction on making Bear a good friend, because I have seen this many times where a guy wants to talk to a girl or wants to confess to a girl or something and wants to go the vulnerable, romantic, emotional route. And then he looks to his other guy or his other guys for advice and they all instinctually just say, ew, no. Let me tell you why that's a problem. There's this thing that is called male-centeredness, where you put men and the idea of men at the center of how you think about things, how you structure your reality, how you approach gender, etc., 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 and how you approach sex and stuff like that. A lot of women are male-centered, yes, but there's nobody more male-centered than men themselves, because men are actually kind of like socialized and raised up, culturally speaking, to be quite myopic in how we see things. You find that a lot of men sometimes struggle, a lot of guys sometimes struggle with things being more than either or, things being more than black or white, things having so many nitty-gritties to consider in between, and everything not just being straightforward, and every woman not just being the exact same, even though she fits a particular aesthetic or social class. You know, sometimes women struggle with that, and it's because of how we are raised. It's not an incapability to do it. It's just that we are raised to become so complacent in the line of considering the nuance of things. And this is not just a male problem, but we are talking about guys right now. Bringing it back to the context of relationships and dating advice, whenever men are going to be giving dating advice, because of how egocentric it is, we end up giving dating advice, specifically telling other guys what women would prefer, how to approach women, based on what we would prefer. You know, because that is what Ian does to Bear in this particular instance. Now, there's something much more sinister going on with Ian in particular. I'm not saying with your bro, but with Ian in particular. But we'll get to that later. Ian immediately goes, "No, bro, don't talk to Nikki like that. Like, Nikki is a fun girl. She's getting around. She's not going to appreciate all of that. Like, you know, she appreciates humor, you know, like brash humor and stuff like that." I think he uses the term "be mean to her playfully," which I understand what it is that he means, but at the exact same time, to be able to do it requires a particular, you know, combination, a particular combination of characteristics. There's a particular confidence and suave. There's a particular aura you need to have for you to be successfully, playfully mean towards somebody, where you are towing the line of mocking them, but not actually mocking them. And so, like, everybody is able to laugh, including the person who is the subject of that. Not everybody can do that. Especially not Bear, because again, Bear is a soft boy. Bear is is a soft guy. He loves love. Let's just put it that way. He loves love. That doesn't entirely spell his character. That doesn't mean that, you know, he doesn't necessarily fit certain masculine stereotypes. He does, because he's still a man. But still, Bear is not the same person who has the brash character that his friend Ian has. And so his friend Ian is giving Bear advice on things to do, how to approach this, based on what he would do as Ian. Not necessarily, and this is what I'm saying about bad advice. It's like guys are giving bad advice to their fellow guy because they are actually not considering what will appropriately work for their guy. They are not considering their guy's personality. They are not considering the expectations that he has and everything. They are simply just considering what he will do. Then Ian goes on to do another thing within that scene, where he essentially speaks on behalf of the woman that is not there, which again is a very man thing to do, speaking on behalf of women, acting like as if you understand women more than they understand themselves. And so you see many guys tell you, you know, women don't know what they want, women like this, women like that, women like that, and all of this is from the perception of the guy. It's based on what the guy thinks a woman is going to like, what the guy thinks the girl you like is going to like. And so he gives advice that most likely would sabotage Bear's opportunity to give a good confession, a good love confession to Nikki and ask her for a relationship. And guess what? That is exactly what happens. Now, Bear doesn't necessarily fail because Ian gave him bad advice. Bear ultimately fails in his love confession because Bear is just a coward, and he was just too overcome by his nerves that he, you know, and too focused on himself and how Nikki will perceive him and all that kind of stuff, that he continually misses his window to tell her something. Even when she kind of like gives him the space to do it, he doesn't. He flakes. All of that is on Bear. I'm not saying it's on Ian, it's on Bear. But then the things he resorts to doing, the actions he resorts to taking when he realizes that, oh, I'm actually about to bomb. Like, I'm actually about to destroy my chances of giving a confession this night. He resorts to Ian's advice. But like I said, he is not Ian. He cannot do the mean humor something like Ian does. And also the example that Ian gave him, like as the template of how you should go about this, is literally the one thing Nikki does not want to hear. It's a nickname from back when they were growing up, and it's something that she hates. And here's the thing, he knows she hates it. And is there a particular circumstance whereby, he could have playfully brought that up and it would have been a laugh, maybe an awkward one, still a laugh, yes. But he just wasn't reading the room. He just wasn't recognizing the moment because he was so much in his head and he just wasn't moving along with reality. But part of what got him there was the bad advice that Ian gave him, especially the very malicious bad advice to call her by a nickname that she hates. And she hates. Now, again, is Ian forcing Bear to do anything? Absolutely not. But let's be goddamn honest. Many of us, if our friends give us advice, specifically somebody who means so much to us like a best friend, gives us certain advice or gives us certain, protocols and procedures on how to move in a certain way towards somebody, we most likely would take that person's advice even if we think we would not. Bear rejects Ian's advice. He seemingly rejects Ian's advice, specifically the one to call Nikki by a nickname that she does not like. He rejects it. But when he's failing, when he needs a rope to grasp onto, when he needs a ledge to stand upon, which advice does he run to? Where does he run to? He runs back to the impressions that Ian gave him. And like I said, I've seen this happen to a lot with a lot of guys. I've seen this happen with male students that I've had in secondary schools where they'll come and approach me and they'll be like, I want to talk to this guy. And I'll be like, okay, don't be mean to her. First off, like, you most likely are not going to pull it off because you do not know the difference between mean and between being playfully mean. I give them advice based on, what do you know about her, what are her hobbies, different things like that. What kind of person is she? And because the person they are most likely going to be approaching is also a student of mine, I'm able to give much more, tailored advice. And then 5 minutes later, they are talking to their bros about the exact same thing. And oh my God, every single thing the bros, who are also just as ignorant as the guy, are telling him, override every single thing that I tell him, and are genuinely bad advice. But the thing is, he has a higher trust value in his bros than he does with me, and so he will end up taking their bros' advice. And I've seen it fail every single goddamn time, because one thing I don't think many guys are really understanding, specifically young guys, is that the bro that you're asking for is not necessarily way much more successful in relationships, whether casual or serious ones. They are not much more successful in that area compared to you. If anything, they are simply just slightly better, and honestly, is mostly luck on their side. And even when they enter these relationships, they are not doing well within them because they are not acting and moving intelligently and intently within those dynamics. And so your bro will give you bad advice, you will give your bro bad advice, and both of you will become the reasons why you are not having a good relationship, because two of you are not wise to realize that the foolish is leading the foolish. Now, I said before that there was a malicious kind of formulation and intent to what Ian was doing at the beginning. This, again, doesn't necessarily mean that your bro is giving you bad advice out of malice. I'm just saying sometimes it can occur, because over time during the movie, we see when Bear and Nikki get together, which get together is a very generous way of putting it. When Bear essentially traps the soul of Nikki and makes her his girlfriend by fire by force through magical wish, Ian is jealous. Ian is obviously jealous, but before we learn that one particular detail that makes Ian's maliciousness very evident, it just looks like Ian is jealous that he got together with this girl, but more so that he's not spending time with his best friend, and also that it looks really, really weird, because this was a girl that wasn't really showing that much interest in this guy, romantically speaking, or even sexually, and then the next day she's all over him. It's been 1 week, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 3 months, and they've just been the best, most lovey-dovey couple ever. She's infatuated with him. She just loves him so much. She discards everybody else, etc., etc., etc. And don't worry, next episode we are going to be talking about the obsession in obsession, okay? We are going to be talking about it, but moving on. And he's constantly coming on to Bear, his friend, and be like, hey, she lied about this, she lied about that. This is weird, all of that. And he's right. It is weird. The relationship is weird. The dynamics and the behaviors of both people in the relationship are weird. And honestly, I was on his friend's side, Ian's side. Ian is a little bit of a douchebag, but seems like, a well-meaning douchebag, if those exist, right? And so, I was on his side. I was like, yeah, sure. And the movie doesn't show Ian trying to break up Bear and Nikki every single time. No. In fact, if anything, when they started dating and hooking up and stuff like that, Ian seems very welcoming and very supporting of the dynamic over time. So his antagonism towards their relationship later on mostly looks like Ian is noticing the weirdness in the relationship and he's simply just saying something is not right here, until we learn that Ian and Nikki used to hook up. Ooh! See, the way I screamed when that detail came up, because it then recontextualizes every single thing that Ian has been doing before then. He kept it a secret from Bear that he and Nikki was hooking up, which, here's the thing. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I liked somebody and then a friend also liked the person, or to be much more specific to the context that we're talking about, where I liked somebody, was going to confess to somebody, etc., and then a friend was actually secretly hooking up with the person. I don't think I've ever been in that situation. But here's the thing, in that kind of situation, you have to actually let your guy know. You have to let your guy know that actually, you know what, this kind of thing is going on between I and this girl. Because, I think that is a detail that you should offer up to your friend, specifically for the sake of the friendship, and also so that he will be making a, should I say, intelligent decision going forward, whether he's going to go through with it and not find it weird that, he's dating a girl that his friend just recently smashed and was hooking up with, even though now you stopped, whether he won't be jealous or different things like that. Like, these are things that could make or break friendships and many relationships. Now, should you be telling him without the consent of the girl that you are hooking up with? No, because it is not just about you. You are not the only person in that casual sexual relationship. So you should not just be outing the fact that both of you are hooking up to that guy, but at the very least, you should talk to her about it and tell her that you really need to tell him, because he's really, really serious about something, something like that. Bear doesn't know about this detail because Ian doesn't tell him. Nikki never gets the chance to tell him because, again, if you've watched Obsession, it's very obvious that she could never tell him. And so he learns through a third party or another friend of theirs whose name I cannot remember currently. I think Sarah or something, but honestly, not that important. But it's when he learns, it's at a time where, honestly, that detail didn't matter a lot. His life was really in danger. But again, remember, at the beginning of the movie, when Bear was doing confessional training and Ian was giving him bad advice, all the bad advice Ian was giving him gets recontextualized as intentional bad advice because he didn't want Bear to be successful with Nikki. Because on some level, Nikki probably also liked Bear, but to be very honest, that particular detail no longer matters because of everything Bear puts her through. But the bad advice he was giving Bear at the very beginning was intentional so that Bear would not be successful with that girl, because he was actively looking to sabotage his friend's opportunity to find romantic love or to have romantic love. He continues to do this even after that diner scene, constantly telling his friend not to confess to her because they're all hanging out, different things like that, framing it like as if he confesses to her at a particular time when all of them are together and it's usually the best opportunity he has to be alone with her and confess, that it would be a betrayal of their friendship. Can you see the kind of framing he was putting around that whole thing? That is not a good friend, Bobo. That is not a good friend, Bear Boo Boo. That is not your bro. That really is not your bro. And I think, and sure, yes, Bear is unaware of Ian's malice towards him. But Ian is very aware of his malice towards him because Ian doesn't like the fact that they are together. Whether he knows there's weirdness going on, even before he knew there was weirdness going on, he didn't like it. And then towards the ending of the movie, your friend comes to you, that's Bear. Bear comes to Ian and is like, you know what, shit has hit the fan. This is the issue that is going on. Different things like that. And to be honest, Bear sounds like a raving lunatic. He sounds like he's a mad person, right? But this is how you know Ian gave no fucks about Bear. He didn't even try to listen to him. If my friend comes to me, if somebody who I would describe as my best friend comes to me and is raving lunatic, is mad, saying that there's a genie that is chasing him and different things like that, and all I need to do is just make a wish that the wish he made no longer is in effect. That's all I needed to do. I would at least try it out. It doesn't mean I believe him, but I would at least try it out. What does Ian do? Ian does anything else except help Bear. Ian wishes for $1 billion when you can only have one wish, and one wish is all that is left. Just one wish. You can only have one wish, right? Ian wishes for $1 billion. He doesn't even try to humor his friend. And this is how you know he doesn't care about him, because all he really does want at the end of the day is for two of them to be broken up so that he and Nikki can go back to smashing. And also, I think on some level, he's jealous that Bear is experiencing a level of softness that he never got to have with Nikki. A level of genuineness, a level of raw love and romanticism that Nikki is giving to Bear, forcefully giving to Bear, obviously, but she's still giving it to Bear. He doesn't know that it is forceful, so he's kind of jealous that how is it that you are able to have that when I was the one who was smashing her before you? And that is another thing. Your bro thinks that because he had sex with a girl, that automatically places him in some kind of like important position within her life. And I promise you, that is not the bro you want to be taking genuine, authentic relational advice from, because that guy doesn't even understand what a relationship is supposed to be for in the first place. And so that's the thing. You are taking advice from somebody who, in fact, I always say this thing to a lot of guys. If you cannot leave your girlfriend alone around your bro, that is not your bro. Because tell me why you cannot trust your brother. I said brother, but you get what I mean. You cannot trust your friend. You cannot trust your friends to honor and respect the privacy and also the boundary of your relationship, to not try to intrude into that relationship by form of temptation or otherwise. If you cannot trust your friends to do that, to be that, to act that way, they are not your friends. You don't trust them. You should not be asking for advice from them. These are people that you automatically hold in a negative space within your heart, but you simply just coexist. And I think that's something about men, guys in general. We think coexistence means agreement. It's like, no, you can learn to coexist with somebody that you hate. Trust me, you can learn to do it. That doesn't necessarily mean that both of you are friends. Y'all still hate each other. You are just able to amicably live together where two of you are not jumping into the fire at the exact same time. That's all that is. And a lot of guys mistake that for friendship when there was never any friendship. Till today, I had a class of students, all boys, and honestly, I struggle to define the relationship all of them had with each other as friendship. There were genuine friendship in pockets among them, but like all of them together, till today I still struggle to describe it as a friendship, because they were constantly exploiting each other, and not even in this kind of like playfully mean way. It's like no, like genuine exploitation that could land any one of them in serious trouble, and they would do it without remorse. That's not a friend. That's really not a friend. Why is your friend constantly doing things that will put you in trouble and doesn't feel bad about it? Thinks, oh, it's just fun now, we are just having fun. That is not your friend. Bro, run for your life. Run for your life. And here's the thing. Oh, what if the girl is the one that is coming on to your guy? See, even if your girl will cheat on you, even if your partner is going to cheat on you, it should not be with your friend. If your friend is actually your friend, it will not be with them. It's that simple. Yeah, oh sure, yes, my girl is the one that went to him, that went to go and tempt him, that went to go and kiniko. Trust me, what you end up having at that point in time is the realization that your girlfriend ain't shit, and your friend also, or friends, also ain't shit. Because you're in a relationship with that girl, your guy has slept with the girl, or he knows that your girl is cheating and he's not telling you. In fact, your girl has slept with all of your friend group, all the guys in your friend group, and you think the only person you need to let go of is that girl and not your friends. Well, I rest my case. But back to the discussion that we are having. Many people don't realize that, or should I say rather many guys, specifically young guys that I'm speaking to currently, don't realize that a lot of issues that they have sometimes in the way they approach relationships, the kind of struggle they've had with relationships, specifically with women up until this particular point in time, is because you are listening to men. You are listening to guys a lot. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that girls are going to give you inherently good advice all the time. But if you have girls that are your friends, that are actually your friends, they will give you good advice when it comes to other women. Not necessarily everything in life. When it comes to other women, because trust me, nobody has a stronger perception of what a woman or how women generally would like guys in a relationship more than another woman who usually would be in a relationship with a guy. Your guy doesn't know how to be in a relationship with himself. What makes you think again he can give you good advice on how don't piss me off. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Identify bad advice from your friends. Know where your friends actually have skill and wisdom to give you advice. Just because they are your friend does not mean, they are good advice givers for everything. And just because, they've constantly had a lot of sexual relationships with people means that they know how to give good advice on how to get there. Some of them are just very, very lucky and they don't know what they are doing right and they cannot teach you. So essentially what I'm saying is get a much more holistic opinion, okay? Don't just get advice from guys. Talk to girls too. Listen to everybody, all right? Thank you. I love you. I'll say follow me on social media, but honestly, the only social media I'm currently active on is Twitter at Daniel Briggs. Meta has decided to close down my Facebook, my Instagram, my Threads. So all of that is gone. So yeah, see you in the next episode. Remember, next episode is also going to be about obsession, but more so in the context of unconditional love. Can't wait for that one. Bye-bye.